Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode, another installment of Pros and Cons. This is Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester, and we are going to break down the Manchester derby last night. Don't think it's just a reaction that you're getting, because it's not. You're getting more. You're getting a breakdown. You're getting some analysis. And also, don't ever forget, if Man City fans, despite whatever they win, do not ever forget that Manchester is red and will always be red, okay? Let's just get that message out there first and foremost. Obviously, very emotional and very drunk after the game when we did the analysis last night, so you didn't really get a clear perspective on my actual thoughts on the game. Or even the lads had a drink as well, so it was a bit merry, it was a bit cheerful, but obviously we've had 24 hours now to kind of sit on this result and really pick it apart and come up with what negatives did we take from it, what positives did we take from it. I want to know everyone's opinion on this for sure, so make sure you get yours in. The ones that I've gone with, I think they're pretty valid, to be honest with you. I think, yeah, let's just kick it off. So the first one I've gone with is set pieces. United on set pieces, I'm pretty sure there was a start during the game saying that we have conceded 40% of our goals to set pieces. So obviously there is a clear issue there. What's going on with my live stream? Excellent connection. Don't know what's going on there. Yeah, hopefully it's okay. But obviously, yeah, there's an obvious flaw there in our team. Do you know what I mean? After conceding against Forest within the first, couple of minutes, first 2 minutes, they scored a goal from a set piece. You had Arsenal as well, who scored against us from 2 set pieces. And then there's other examples as well in other games where we've just been absolutely shocking. But yeah, the game was pretty equal, I thought, up until that point. Obviously, De Bruyne takes a short one. And there was a couple of... when you watch it back and you pause it and you slow it down, you see little intricate things that you probably wouldn't see if you obviously just watching it in full time, because who would? It goes so quick. You see one replay and then the game's back on again. So, yeah, in the middle. Diallo not really picking up any guys. Yeah, I think it was Ugarte who rushes out. Diallo was kind of like... his marking on corners is just absolutely shit anyway. But he doesn't really know who to mark. And just tactically naive. That's something that they definitely need to work on. Because let's say we were strong at set pieces, right? You're not conceding. You don't concede those goals. You probably win against Forest. You probably pick up a point against Arsenal, and you've just beat Manchester City. So when they talk about fine margins in football, that is exactly what the kind of things that you can allude to, right? Next up on the negatives, and this isn't a negative on him. Wahib saying, I've seen a good player in Ugarte. I'm going to get onto him. Don't worry about that. This isn't a negative on the actual player, but we have to discuss Mason Mount's injuries. It's annoying, right? Because this is a player that I really like, and I can really see, especially in this system, I can see him being extremely effective. And you saw his little cameo against Victoria Pleasant earned his way back into the team. And I was like, buzzing. Starts in a Manchester derby. Let's see what he is all about. Let's see what he can offer. Let's see what he can produce. And there's a lot of people excited to see him in the team. You can feel that kind of positive energy before the game. We speak about players like Marcus and Alejandro and how the application isn't quite right. You never got that with Mason Mount, ever. Even the first thing Amorim said when he came in was that I could see it in his eyes. There's something in his eyes that, I love this kid. It was like quite strong to say that, considering you've only just come to the club. So he obviously sees a player in him. He obviously sees the kind of attitude that he wants, that he's crying out for in a lot of his players. So, yeah, you're excited to see him start. 14 minutes in, the inevitable happens, doesn't it? Pulls up. I don't know if it's his calf or his hamstring or something along the lines of that. So I took it upon myself to look into his injury record since he's joined Manchester United, and it's pretty stark. So he's already missed 170 days and 30 games due to injuries whilst he's been at United. That's nearly a full season, and he only signed last summer. That is crazy. That's like getting worse than Luke Shaw kind of numbers is what we're talking about. Terrible for him. I feel bad for him because it's not his fault. He will be as pissed off as the next person. And you saw that when he was coming off. You saw his teammates around him. He's hungry. He wants to be successful at United, but he just can't. He's so injury prone. He's one of the most injury prone players I've seen, genuinely. But I want to get everyone's thoughts on this because I think Mount's Some people are just not asked. They're like, yeah, get rid of him. Some people are like, I really want to see him. Let us know your thoughts. Amazing. Next up on the negatives list, and it won't surprise a lot of people, Premier League refs in the UK are absolutely dog meat. Absolutely dog meat. We had Dermot Gallagher, whatever his name is, on Sky Sports this morning talking about that decision against Rasmus. Let me just pull that back up if it's on there. How on earth? I mean, when I first saw it, I was like, I'm not sure. The more I look at it back now, the more I'm like, that is definitely a penalty. 1,000,000%. How they've not give that, first and foremost, is like, I think Mike Dean said, in a game like this, that's not a penalty. Where on earth, I wonder how many other decisions or refs haven't given it due to the, the size of the game or the occasion. Like, where's this layered consistency that you expect from Prem refs? Bizarre, innit, right? In a game like this, that's not a penalty. You're like, what the fuck? This wasn't part of the negatives, but this is a part of what I'm talking about in terms of inconsistency with referees. Kyle Walker deserves an Oscar, mate, for what he was doing on that pitch. That dramatic collapse was atrocious. The guy is from like one of the roughest parts of Sheffield. He's cheating on and off the pitch at this point. Hoyland even he literally brushed noses with him and he went like that. Collapsed. Like furniture I'd built from IKEA, just flat packed on the floor, trying to win his team a red card. That's how desperate he is. That's how desperate he was to try and win the game. Honestly. Stephen McGill says, consistency from refs in this lifetime. Good luck. What is next for Alejandro Garnacho and, I was going to say Mason Mount and Marcus Rashford? What happens with them this week? There's going to be a load of news around it. There's probably going to be more things dropping in regards to why they was taken out of the team. I'm sure there's a lot of journalists that have just had about 9 coffees and are like, going through all the stories now, trying to piece things together. But obviously, both players being dropped before Manchester derby was massive, massive news. You had rumours about leaks, application, training. We've seen it all before with Marcus. Not necessarily with Garnacho, but we've seen attitude things kind of temper up, haven't we, in pre-season, which Bruno had spoken about before. But what kind of reaction are you going to get out of the players? That's what I'm more kind of keen to see. If they play, will they feature against Spurs? Amorim said it's a new game week, fresh mindset. We go into this one completely different. So I imagine they're probably going to come back into the team. That's, against Spurs, they're probably on the bench and they might start. And then it's, it's over and hopefully they have a good performance. They score a couple of goals and no one talks about it again. Because the last thing I want, especially before a derby, no one's talking about the game or the excitement about the game. Everyone's talking about, what's Rashford done and what's Garnacho done? Because human behaviour and psychology, people always lean towards more negative things, right? It just sticks in the brain. You can be complimented 1,000 times and told you're amazing, but that one person who says, you look a bit like a Harry Maguire from Wish, thank you, TikTok. Those ones are the ones where you're like, okay, that'll stick in the brain. Do you know what I mean? So people just like discussing these kind of things. And Amorim in the post-match press last night said, before the game, said, I pay attention to everything, the way you eat, the way you put your clothes to go to a game, everything. I make my evaluation and then I decide. So he's obviously not happy with some form of application, what the lads are doing in training. Maybe there's a bit of arrogance in there, a bit of cockiness, something along the lines of that. I'm not entirely sure. But it's not a great look on both of them, and I expect him to bounce back after that. Now into the positives, people. Wahib saying Rashford should go and Garnacho still going for the squad. Amad Diallo, player of the season. Give it him now. Give it him right now. I mean, Mazraoui's been fantastic. Onana's had his moments, but Amad Diallo, my God, special talent. And he is special talent blended with hard work and patience, and that'll just beat talent alone 1,000,000 times out of 10. He was involved in all the goals, coincidentally, yesterday, obviously because De Bruyne's thing unfortunately deflected off Amad, and that's where they scored the headed from. But obviously, he won the penalty really well. Super intelligent to do that. A lot of players, and this is a perfect example, actually. If Garnacho was in that situation, he probably would have shot, or he would have rushed it, and he would have put the chance up. Amad had the foresight to pick it up, notice, right, there's a player incoming from this side, hold your own, turn your back, and bang, take the penalty, and wins it. You know what I mean? Oh, that was really, really good. High-level intelligence. High-level intelligent football is what we need to earn a penalty. All about anticipation with Amad Diallo. And then, obviously, the winning goal was the cream on the cake, wasn't it? The cherry on the cake, whatever you want to call it. I think that's the cream on a cake. That's mad. The first touch and the finish was just something like, you watch it, you're like, oh, what a finish, what a touch, what a way to finish a derby. Like, he's stacking memories in the vault for us. And he's going to keep doing it, you know. When you look at the Liverpool game, you know, Garnacho played him a poor pass at the end of that game. Everyone's knackered, and he still finishes it, knocks Liverpool out. We go on to win the trophy that year. Just scored a last-minute winner in the derby. It was pivotal all game. Was really, really good. He's just so good, isn't it? He's so good, honestly. And I'm not even getting tired of speaking about him week in, week out. He's always on the positive section of pros and cons, always. But I'm not tired of talking about it because I think it's been incredible, genuinely. And hopefully I keep talking about him week in, week out. Unknown saying mad that Amad is only 22. Exactly, that's what I mean. He's got years ahead of him, and he's performing like this at the moment. Yeah, top stuff from Amad. Really happy. Going from attack to defence now. I thought Big Harry and his centre-backs, the three centre-backs, De Ligt, Martinez and Maguire, were a couple of them I was worried about, because usually we have Maz as the right-sided centre-half, yeah? So when we have individual duels or 1v1s or whatever you want to call it, he can deal with it, no problem. Even Lenny Yoro is one of those guys. But seeing De Ligt as the right-sided centre-half and then seeing Lisandro Martinez as the left-sided centre-half and thinking about Doku on the ball and Savinho or Foden, whoever it was, you kind of like squinting at you thinking, oh, if they get a 1v1, we're toast, mate. But in actual fact, obviously it was more of a back five, wasn't it? So it was very, very compact. Didn't offer much space. Defensive flair was really, really... I mean, Harry Maguire was solid. Didn't see anyone talking about Harry Maguire yesterday, which I thought was really, really bizarre. I thought it was very, very strange because he made Haaland look like Nicholas Bentner. He was top yesterday, Harry. Absolutely top. All three of them. Cohesive, no mistakes, stay together as a unit. Everything you want from a back three, back five, they absolutely smashed it. And it's clear what each player brings, you know, in terms of complement. De Ligt's got a bit of a mixture, but Maguire obviously has the aerial presence and strength and experience and has played in the back five numerous times before, but usually on the left-hand side. I think that central thing suits him. I do. Lisandro, I thought was really good as well. I've got my question marks about him in that left-sided centre-half, but you watched the game yesterday. Fantastic. Obviously got the assist for the Amad goal as well. Spotted him the first time. He kind of dinked it over into those central areas where City struggle. And we won. So you can't... Literally, I have no bad things to say about that back three. No bad things. I was worried initially, but they deserve the flowers. So that's why they're on the positive section today. So well done, boys. Next up, Wahib. You've been talking about Ugarte for a bit. This is the man who's next. Now, I'm going to copyright this nickname. And no one, if anyone else uses this is visual evidence that this is the nickname that I have given him, okay? El Extintor. El Extintor. If you are Spanish, you'll know what that means. That means the extinguisher, because this kid puts fires out. Best midfielder on the pitch yesterday, and you're talking about a pitch that had, I don't know, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, or Bruno Fernandes. Ugarte was the best midfielder on the pitch. And Ugarte is a story of patience with players who have started tough, but now he is fully adapted. Because I remember the first couple of weeks when Ugarte came in, and some of the things people would say, oh, what a waste of 60 million, absolute flop, all this kind of fucking nonsense. It's like, chill out, give him a bit of time, let him adapt to the team, and let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's about. Discuss it in 6 months' time. You don't even need 6 months' time. It's been, what are we, December now? What are we, August, September, October, no, 3 or 4 months, and he's adapted. Have some fucking patience. Have some patience. He was really good. 95% passing accuracy. 3 out of 3 long balls. 8 out of 13 ground duels won. 4 interceptions, 4 tackles, 1 clearance. Top stuff. Top stuff. And in my opinion, him and Kobe Mainu are the two that you want. Look, it was unfortunate that Mount went off yesterday, but I will caveat that with when Kobe came on, I think he's much better in that role than Bruno is. Kobe and Ugarte have to start together and then make your decision if you want to play Mount or Bruno up top. That's fine. I'm all right, you know, kind of discussing that. But those two as a partnership, can't fault it. Great. El Extintor, the Extinguisher. That's what we're calling him. Copyright it. Next up, Amorim tells Pep, I'm your daddy. Amorim is, it's factual. It's not even like a conversation. Amorim is Pep's daddy. He beat him 4-1 with Sporting in the Champions League. Just beat him 2-1 in the Premier League and in his first Manchester derby. You know, if Amorim pulls his chinos out the wash this morning, Pep's sat in his pocket. He's done him twice. Despite whatever form you want to talk about Pep being in at the moment, Amorim has done him twice. This will give the players, the manager, huge confidence going into these next couple of weeks because we've still got some tough fixtures. Knowing what United are like, you could pick up a draw or even lose to Bournemouth and then beat Liverpool. Like they're all over the place. We've got tricky fixtures. Newcastle are in there, Liverpool are in there, Arsenal in the FA Cup at some point, Tottenham in there. You've got some really tricky games. A back three of De Ligt, Yoro, Leacher is better. I'd probably agree. I would prefer, for me personally, I would rather go De Ligt, Yoro, and Maz. I think that's very capable. If you want to push right up the pitch, I think that's better. Bringing in Maguire's and Leachers lack a little bit of pace for me on the transition. That's why I was worried about those kind of 1v1s yesterday, but it didn't really come to fruition, so it was fine. But yeah, this is, I feel like Amorim getting that win, not only important for confidence and for players and just for them, you know, to dampen the media down around him and stuff. Because had they lost that game, then I mean, the narrative coming out of that would be completely, oh, he's lost 3 Premier League games and all this kind of shit. But not only that, it reinforces the message to Rashford and Garnacho as well that this is a team game. You fight for your boys, you fight for the lads, you go into the trenches, you go into war together. You know, basically, if you was to use an analogy for what Rashford and Garnacho did yesterday, it's like you're going to war together and Rashford or Garnacho purposely took a couple of the bullets out of the gun before you go. It's kind of like, when you think about it, it's kind of like, why would you do that? Like what positives do you gain from that? Sabotaging the team for your own good. And it's not even for your own good. Like, what possible good can come from it? Do you know what I mean? Leaking a team before Manchester derby, there's not one positive anyone can tell me from doing that. Not one. So that was bizarre. That's like taking your soldier's gun, taking a couple of bullets out of the thing, and going, yeah, here's your handgun, here's your M9, here's your AK or whatever. And I'm like, the clip feels a bit empty, like half. Yeah, he emptied half the bullets out of it. Why? I don't know. Because I'm not fighting on the front line. Yeah, they've sent me home. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a strong analogy, but just to make my point, I mean, another thing I want to add on it as well, ban Samuel Luckhurst from press conferences. Because, yes, the player had leaked it to Samuel Luckhurst and the MEN. He's the one who's put it out. No one would have known that team if he didn't press enter on the keyboard. Don't let him in the press conferences. That guy is toxic, and that guy has been toxic around Man United for fucking years. There has never been a positive story come out. He was the one who put that stuff out about Rasmus as well. Oh, his teammates don't like him. They don't like playing with him. All this shit. You know, he's done it for years. Even looks like he's some like evil master plan. I can see him in like a lab with his hands around a fucking sphere, looking like, oh, we can do this. Like, he looks like one of those guys. He loves negativity around Manchester United. Neil Custard's another one. He'll just ask questions when there's a bit of, you know, controversy. Neil Custard was the one who put the stuff out about Xerxes being fat and overweight. Neil Custard. Have you seen that man? His face looks like fucking Lurpak. It's mad. Ban these kind of journalists from the press conference. They don't deserve to be in there. They're just a negative on the club. Diallo, thoughts, mate? Diego Dalot, I'm not convinced on at all. I'll be honest with you. It doesn't fill me with confidence. His marking on set pieces is shocking. You go back and watch a lot of the goals we conceded this year, he's at fault for quite a lot of them. Quite a lot of him not marking. His marking at the back post has always been terrible. He's got a mistake in him. He's got a lapse in concentration. His application off the pitch, everything you want as a professional is great. But you don't just win games, or you don't just get to be on the pitch because you're a great professional. He needs to improve. I'm not fully sold on him at the moment, genuinely, and I would look to bring in another left back. I don't think wing back suits him. Every time he had like a 1v1 versus Walker last night, I was watching it and I'm like, he's not going to do him. You know, whether he went onto his left foot, the cross would be bad. He'd cut in, don't really make anything from it. You need someone who's going to challenge Walker. If you've got an Alphonso Davies or Robinson, if anyone watched Robinson against Liverpool the other day, that's the kind of left back that we need. I'm telling you. Mona, is Mazza injured? Because I saw him telling Amorim to sub him off. Yeah, he was limping in the mix zone as well, Mazraoui, so I hope it's not too bad. I've not heard anything personally from it in the kind of past 24 hours. I don't know if anything's been put out, but hopefully it's just a knock. But if you limp in, you'll probably miss the next game or a couple of games. I've just been talking about Neil Custard, actually. Man United have launched an investigation into team news leaks. Amad Diallo and Alejandro Garnacho have been quizzed by Ruben Amorim as to whether they are responsible, and he is satisfied that neither of them are involved directly in the leaking. So he said that about Amad and Garnacho. But again, that's from Neil Custard in the Sun, so I never know what to believe from him. This is the same guy that said Qatar have won and it's done and it's finished. So who really knows? Does he really know anything? I don't know. Bit of a weird one, isn't it? We need to fix up on set pieces, man. Yeah, I touched on that at the start. We're absolutely shit at him. We have quite a small team as well. You know, you look in that box. When Maguire was playing yesterday, you're like, it's not too bad. But when you got like Martinez, Diallo, Bruno, you know, Ugarte's not the biggest. Ahmad, you've got all these players in the box, and the marking players like Erling Haaland, Ruben Diaz, Gavardio, like quite big lads. It's tricky. And you saw that Arsenal set pieces targeted us 1,000,000%. But that's what they do. They're Stoke City, aren't they? I suppose. So yeah, this is where you guys come in. So for the last 5 minutes, some of you obviously have only just joined the live stream, or you've only been in it for a couple of minutes. But the negatives and positives that I've discussed, I spoke about set pieces, Mason Mount's injuries, the officiating in the league, and what's next for Marcus Rashford and Garnacho. They were the 4 negatives. For the positives, I spoke about Amad Diallo, the 3 centre-backs being solid, El Extintor, in other words, Ugarte, and Amorim doing the double over Pep. They were the negatives and the positives. Have I missed any out? And what would you like to discuss? This is your time now for the next 5 minutes. Talk to me, people. Lumen in the chat saying big up everyone else as well. Need to sell injury-prone players like Shaw and Mount, but that is you've just said it yourself, injury-prone players. Who will buy injury-prone players? You know? If a team comes in and goes, we're quite interested in Luke Shaw, we're quite interested in Mason Mount, how much do you want for him? Well, last summer we paid 55 million for Mason Mount. So, you know, we want to try earn as much of that back as possible. Yeah, but the guy's missed 30 games for you since he's joined. So, we're not going to pay that, are we? We don't even know if he's going to be fit for us. And that's where negotiations and things break down. I know that Mason Mount will stay at the club anyway. He won't be looking to move now. That's one he definitely won't be. Luke Shaw, maybe there's a different conversation. He's been at the club 9 years. He just can't stay fit in general. He's worse than Mount at the minute. He can't even get on the pitch at all. So, I don't know what you do with them. I don't know how you sell them. It's impossible, to be honest with you. I think they're just going to be at the club until either the contract runs out or maybe they'll take a hit on Shaw or something, a 10, 15 million, 20 million, and see if another team can miraculously get him fit. But it's not something you can do, is it? Because with a minute, I suppose. But yeah, to say, you know, I'm ecstatic is an understatement with that game yesterday. Going into that, I mean, when I did the predictions, I felt like City would win it 3-1. I felt like they would turn up. I felt like it'd be difficult. And I also felt like it'd be a similar game to Arsenal, where we're just kind of holding on and had no kind of impotence up top. And for large parts of the game, I felt like it was that. You know, I felt like we were finding our feet slowly but surely and did it at the right time. But the goal Ahmad scored, sensational. I mean, you need quality in games like that, and he's shown his quality there, and he's obviously a guaranteed starter for us now and our best attacker in the team. So you want, if a couple more can step up to that level. I'm looking at individual players in our team. I'm thinking, if I'm thinking that what type of players do I want week in, week out playing for us, Mazraoui and Ahmad is the level of standard that I'm looking for in each player, in each position. That's when you'll start winning things. Because them two, hard work off the ball, mega talented on it, offer solutions in a lot of areas. Press resistant, great technical footballers. They're the kind of footballers I want. You get some more of those in, you'll be looking good. I mean, even Ugarte, to be fair, Ugarte's getting better and better and better. He looks like an absolute steal now. You know, 50 million quid, only 23 years old. you know, there's some players that are looking good, but they need to keep leveling up for me. Nick, hypothetically asking, what would you have done if you were Mount or Shaw? What do you mean? I think you need to expand on that a bit. Hypothetically asking, what would you have done if you were Mount or Shaw? In what regard? If I was getting injured all the time, what would I do? I'm not sure what you're asking there. If that is the question, there's not much in terms of trying to get yourself back fit again. From everything you read about those players, they are doing everything medically. Like, they are doing the rehab correctly. They're doing extra bits to try and get themselves. Sometimes there's nothing you can do. Sometimes the body just breaks down. And, you know, even you saw the greatest players on the planet, it happened to him. Ronaldo, Nazario, R9 was arguably the greatest striker ever to grace us in football. And you look at the bad injuries that he had. You can't just, once it's there, it's one of those things. If you're injury prone, you're injury prone. Unless you, so obviously you've seen rare cases where people get like stem cell and stuff, and it makes it better for a bit. But once your body starts breaking down, especially, I mean, Luke Shaw's at the age of 30. You know, look at Michael Owen, the injuries that he had. He was never ever the same again. So, unfortunately, it happens. But, yeah, I'm going to leave it there, guys. Appreciate every single one of you joining today. We are getting closer and closer to 10,000 subscribers, and it's because of you guys. So, thank you very much. Very humble. Appreciate every single one of you. If you can, leave a like on the TikTok and YouTube for me. That'd be great. If you are still in the live right now on TikTok and you don't follow us on YouTube, first and foremost, what are you doing? But click the link in the bio, check out the community. If you enjoy the content, hit that subscribe button, and hopefully see more and more of you guys per show. This has been Pros and Cons. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Leave all your feedback in the comments.